Zven. I always love watching interviews with Zven because he's very, very technical and at the same time quite funny about things as well.
I've just got images. I really want to see Young Buck trying to teach like game terms now to expect. I want that as like a micro series. That'd be great. That would make my day.
Indeed it would, but G2, well, bringing it back in Game 2 after that very strong victory from H2K in Game 1, and a lot came down to those couple of fights, and especially Mithy, the enabler, so to say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could say the same about Game 2 that Zven was trying not to say about Game 1, where it all came down to a few plays, but honestly, the first 3 minutes dictated this entire game. We took a look at some of the early game plays that really turned this game on its head. The first blood, aside from that, there were two subsequent fights that Zven touched on that we wanted to take a look at. So this was actually the first blood.
Yep.
So this obviously had a turning point on the game because it put Freeze in a position where they couldn't escape the fight that follows up. So for G2, as they said, it kind of was good scouting, knowing that Freeze was going to do that kind of play in the bottom lane. And then this was the second one in the bottom lane. So already G2 have the advantage here. Mithy has done his 1v1 against the Olaf, which, you know, the Olaf not great for making plays early, whereas Trick comes in, gets the flash knockup. By the way, I went and checked this. 3 health Trick dropped to in that situation before he burrowed for the healing to proc, and unfortunately therefore H2K, that's the kind of situation where, as the casters were saying, Tefisio was saying, you know, in a scrim, that's you, GG, go next, let's set up again, let's not waste time. Unfortunately, so difficult to come back from that setting. There was maybe the outside chance that Odoamne was getting farmed, but then the pressure turned and G2 were like, no, you don't get to farm in this game.
Sadly, he couldn't get rolling, but what do you make of the Rumble pick in the current meta?
So I like it in theory, in the sense of it's a team fighting pick that has good control over the Dragon area, good control over any entrances to team fights. So it has the same kind of effect that a lot of other picks we're seeing have. The problem is, when you look at the Aurelias coming through, the Fizzes, I think it's an okay laning matchup, but then the Aurelia, the Fizz, the later the game goes, if they get ahead, they can just crush through, because Rumble, you're never going to get to team fights. And that's what happened for H2K in this situation, is they never got to team fight with their composition effectively because they were so far behind. I mean, to put it in perspective, that was the largest deficit at 20 minutes that we've seen in the summer split. Just under 10,000 gold, 9,700. So a crushing defeat here in Europe for H2K. Good win for G2 to tie the series.
Crushing defeat. Mithy, we just saw it as also player of the game in this one, of course, setting up a lot. And I think it's kind of a fitting ending to this match of the week. The two best teams in Europe right now, as we can see there, Mithy, player of the game, and Vander doing really well in Game 1. They do definitely seem to be on the same level, and you got your prediction to come true, so yay for that.
Yes, that's what counts in this scenario. Looking at player of the game in the second game was actually fairly difficult because I kind of, my vote went towards Mithy because of the early game plays. The rest of it probably wouldn't have quite been there without it. There were just so many players you could have given this to. Trick was 7-0-20 out of 28 kills, 27 kill participation, like crazy stats. Just good to see that at least G2 can come back and bounce back in a series after taking a defeat, and not only bounce back but crush that early game. Perhaps it wouldn't happen the same way every time, but at least they showed a little bit of resolve there.
Yep, very good to see from G2 and H2K in this one. And all day long, you've been showing us how you LCS. So let's take a look at some of your setups. From @SlotHipster tweeted, I EU LCS in class this summer. Don't worry, still paying attention. Well, I don't know if we're supposed to condone this, but it's cool that you're watching us, of course, staying cool in school, kids.
I hope you are still paying attention. I know it always is difficult. You always want to keep an eye on both streams, but keep an eye on the studying as well.
Keep an eye on studying, on football,
on
the stream.
Right?
Everything at the same time. Another tweet from @JustShan was sneaking a peek at Fnatic versus Schalke 04 earlier today. See it as well, doing a bit of work, and then also sneak peeked a little bit.
Is this LCS for ants?
No, you know, it can't be conspicuous, you know, nobody can see that you're watching, but very, very cool. Keep sending us all of those How I EU LCSs because we love to see your pictures. Now, with the score settled here in the LCS studio, we are going to send it over to stream EU LCS 1, where Splice and Giants are currently on the Rift in Game 1 of our final match of the evening.